god.
I thought it might be a bit
This is me
interesting.
like actually griefing out of voice playing Junkrat, so we'll see how I can respond to my misplays. I'm definitely gonna be present in this VOD. And this is still relatively straightforward. Almost everything is try hard in terms of the picks. So I think Sig's a hero that's like there's a lot of mechanical aspect to it of just like the aiming is super weird, like the left click aiming, like the fact that you aim both shots in the left click. There's nothing really like that on other heroes. Like the tempo of that. And of course the bouncing and stuff, and so it's a very unique hero. And I think what I'll focus on is mostly just like positioning and cooldown usage and stuff, and then like mechanical stuff maybe we'll mention a little bit, but my focus is always going to be on like setting yourself up for success, and then you know maybe you hit the shots, maybe you don't, but that's not important. That's just like you play more, you'll get better at that. But being in the right place is something I can help you with, and like giving you confidence. At least you'll know you're in the right spot. So the first thing I always talk about in every review is thinking about compositions, and how when you look at your own composition and the enemy's composition, the most important thing to do is to like figure out what your game plan should be. Like how are you supposed to play in this spot? I think our comp kind of is terrible here, mostly because Tracer I actually don't think gets any value against this comp because they're playing Brig BAP. So what that means is that we're not only losing the spam trade, but we like basically have to make some sort of flank bursting play in order to succeed. But you can't really participate in that. So just poking is right. I would say as far as cooldown usage goes, when you're taking these like corners that are super contested, right? Like, so in this case is like, you know, Route 66 is a classic one, but any time you're turning a really big corner on Sigma, I think you want to use your EAT actually super early rather than holding it for the last second, because they're not really going to rush even if you use it or don't use it. And your shield is actually like more valuable in this case than anything else. So just coming around here, maybe like letting the Orisa shield break and then eating or something, I think is a little bit more efficient here, because you might save eat against a team that's going to rush you and they're going to like jump on you and you need to survive. But that's not what this team's going to do. It's all about breaking damage and like breaking shields, basically. Like whoever has the shield trade is going to win. So you actually want to use it early just so you can cycle it and have it up again like quick, rather than holding on to it like you might against another comp. So like, sorry?
That makes sense.
Yeah, so in the pure spam trade, that's a great situation to just use an early eat. And like you're basically just using it to block for your team and to like allow your shield and your Orisa shield to regenerate. So just being like a little bit more efficient with the way you're using your cooldown. Because at this point, you're not even going to use it probably for a while. And like at a certain point, you could have used it at the start and it would just be back already. This is all good as far as like poking and trading goes. I think one thing is that like they're better at getting kills with the poke, so you really don't want you don't want to be forcing it when you don't have to. You know, like in this case, we're pushing cart, we're in a safe spot. You know, so like at this point in the fight, right, you could have used it on the corner and you would have had it again now, and you just never used it. So this is like a perfect example of when it's really good to use it early. Just cycle it. You have 2 instead of 1 in the fight, and more shields to work with. Here, I think you realize that these guys are here. I think this is actually important for you to fight these guys, or nobody at all to fight these guys. It's like one or the other. I don't know which one is better here, actually. I think maybe just ignoring them is good and just pushing hard. Hopefully they don't kill anybody, because this is definitely sketchy. I think maybe I'll die here. We'll see. But like, this is basically why our comp is bad, I think, because even though their DPS aren't really they're like flanking and stuff, we still can't really get kills because of their comp. And then once we lose one, yeah, I think at this point you just like die for ult, do whatever you can, but it doesn't look super winnable. I think we switch out of the first fight. Yeah, so now our comp is a lot more straightforwardly good at like breaking shields, and it's less, I don't know, it's just a fucking better comp, so we have a better chance to win. So I think overall that fight was fine from you. Like identifying the right push and then deciding not to contest it is fine as long as nobody else is contesting it. But another way to play that fight would have been you and like Tracer turn on those DPS and go together and fight them off, which is like, you know, it's ranked, whatever, people don't work together and stuff. But Sig +1 is like the most powerful flank fighting combo in like the game, basically. The hero is really, really good at that specific, especially when it's just DPS. who are just gonna like give you health with the eat and stuff. There's no stuns, of course, so nothing to be scared of. This is good, but yeah, another case where I think you just use this eat earlier, like before your shield is completely dead, you know? Like your shield in this case is actually kind of better in a sense than the eat is. And right when you turn around the corner and like you can just assume that everybody is reloaded, everybody is about to shoot you. So the earlier you do it, generally the better. That's a good dragon from them. But I think part of that was like even you getting rocked there was because your shield is like fully smashed. Or wait, did you leave your shield out as well? It might have been a mistake from you. Like you don't ever want to let it. You didn't let it actually smash here. But why was it on CD? There. So you're like really scared here, right? Understandably, because there's a dragon on you. But realistically, the thing you should be scared of is like the last little bit of the Sig shield. You kind of always want to save, like even if you're dying, basically, because you could have died to this rock, and like if somebody had hit a shot on this rock, like if the Ash had been there. I mean, I guess there's drone on you that nobody broke either, which is good. But in general, I'll just say like when your shield is at that like 50 HP or less threshold, just turn your head and look straight at the floor. You know, like you can't really. It's better to just try and regen it than it is to commit. That's a bit unfortunate. Just should have called maybe for the team to chill, because you just want. I think you like press shift here for sure, and then you just like, oh wait, I don't have it. That's just a push we can't really make without your shift. Just not gonna work, right? But I mean, that's another important thing for like a team strategy stuff. When you're doing these sort of pushes, like this is a really weird push from us. It's a little bit sketchy in my opinion, but it can work. But the key is that everybody is ready with all the CDs. And I think that is the right cycle is pushing in hard with the Sig eat and then trying to get to cover and then using drone as like your last resort. So I really think what like just the biggest thing here is just like calling for the team to slow down, like make 100%. Even you should have had full shield here, right? Even beyond the eat, like we don't need to do this fast. Basically, we can wait 2, 3, 4 seconds and get you full resources, because taking the fight at like less than full resources, it doesn't matter against dive, but it matters a lot in the mirror match. So you really want to like be patient and wait for those full count of resources to stack so that you're as strong as possible before you fight. You probably would have been fine with just the eat, but of course that's just something you always have to be checking and being aware of. If you're going to make those pushes, those, you know, big corner crosses, that's something you have to tell the team of like, I need 2 seconds for cooldown. Realistically, that is the most important cooldown by far on Sigma. Like rock honestly doesn't matter that much. You can kind of throw it and not care. But the eat is like necessary for the team to push strokes. It's good flex by him. I feel like you're kind of like no reason to look back at the team there. You can just stay aggressive, look for spam. If something's happened that you can't do anything about because you don't have a rock to deal with the Sigma, so there's no you can't interact with him really, then you might as well just ignore the rest of the team and push in hard. I mean, in this case, honestly, it doesn't matter that much because we're getting team wiped hardcore, so there's no way. No matter what you do, we're losing that fight. But just as a general policy, I think when you identify a bad situation and you know that I can't contribute to that, like I have no stun, I can't stun the Sigma, there's just nothing I can do, then that's, you just want to immediately turn your focus and like, all right, can I kill somebody on somewhere else on the map, right? Can I do something else? Can I spam somebody and push them, like, rather than watching your teammate die, basically. Like this flux. I think with the flight here, I think you could have gotten more value out of the flight. That's like a key point on the Sig ult is like using the flight to like not just the ultimate, but also the flight to like reposition. I like that you're aggressive. You basically Sig ult and force the drone and like CC these guys while we're making a push elsewhere. That's all fine. But I'd rather see you like end on this high ground maybe. Like or end even like on this thing is kind of okay. But yeah, I feel like you kind of just flew up and then you kind of flew down, and like another thing you can think about, instead of just who am I going to Sig ult, but like where am I going to fly to with the Sig ult. Maybe it's the case that you can't make it happen, but even just considering it can be good. This Bob's not going to die, so you don't want to waste your time with it. Even that shield, I think, is kind of a waste. Because your shield's not full, and you're about to eat the Mega, so you don't care about the damage. Like, Sigma just sucks at this, right? Like, you don't have the DPS to deal with this thing. And realistically, in this situation, this Bob, it's just not going to die. We just need to wait it out. And I think you could identify that a little quicker, and, like, you don't even care if it shoots you for 50 damage here, right? Because you're going to get a pack. But now you only have the 300 shield, where you could have had, like, almost full shield at this point. So when you're playing against Bob on Sigma, just unless the whole team is there, like, you don't contribute DPS to the Bob. The only thing you really do against the Bob is, like, block the damage so your Hanzo or whatever can headshot it. But the DPS, you really aren't effective. So it's better to just, like, maximize your resource count and go do something else on the map if we're not killing the Bob. This is fine. Playing slow because you're super low, which is good. That guy got stuck or something. Yeah, I think that fight's pretty much fine. The only thing is just identifying a little quicker if the Bob is, like, if it's actually going to die or not. And it's almost not even up to you. I think it's more on, like, your DPS to call that, or if you have a Zen or a BAP or something that has the means to kill it, to communicate it. But yeah, if you're all alone, generally you just ignore the Bob. One thing I want you to be more careful about also is, like, the shield deployments here. Like, your life really isn't in danger, and, like, it's okay to take damage. It's okay even to, like, get headshot, or I guess a better way to say it is, like, to take the risk that you might get headshot, because you have 400 HP. Like, it's, in a way, it's a good thing to take damage here. Like, you're never gonna die, basically. Like, I mean, if there was a Widow, then you might be more scared, but there's not a Widow, and there's not even a Zen or a Mercy, so it's just like Ashe and the Hanzo. And I mean, I don't know if we're calling or whatever that the Hanzo's up here, but basically, like, when you have this full HP stack, really try not to use the shield, and your shield's, like, low and you want to regen it. Every time you put it out there, you basically stop that progress. You, like, stop regaining the shield to full. So putting the shield out is actually kind of a big mistake, because it ends up costing you, like, 300-400 shield health had you never put it up in the first place, and it was just charging up the whole time, right? Like, let's say you take an extra 200 damage, or like 100 damage, is kind of pretty realistic here, like, you know, a bit of poke from a few heroes. You're still fine. You're still high enough HP to be, and you have an eat as well, so you shouldn't be scared, and you shouldn't also be, like, you have to identify, I guess, how scared you should be. In that case, you shouldn't be scared, so you should be greedy and just trying to regain that shield hardcore. And just think about, by default, putting your shield away. Like, unless you actually are like, I want this shield to be here, and I need it to be here to do this thing I'm doing, then put it away. Or your teammate says, hey, shield me. Like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of times you end up just leaving it out, and you're not thinking about it anymore. Like, this shield is good, sure. But then, like, instantly, you know, you can pull this back. Like, when this guy turns away, the brig drops down, you know, you're just, like, 2 seconds late on pulling it back. So, you know, it seems like a small detail, but I think across the whole game, being more consistent, pulling it back a little bit quicker, you're going to have more resources to work with. Which, that's, like, the key on Sigma, is the resource game of, like, having the most shield and the most, like, breaking the other Sigma shield first so you can rock him and he can't rock you.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit unlucky with the drone. This is another scenario where you're in this full reset, so you're likely going to want to use the eat really early. I guess when there's double amp wall, you kind of want to shoot through it, but, like, I think it's already a little bit too late. But, you know, if you, like, the rest of the way you play this fight, chasing out the flanker, I like it all, but you don't need that eat in order to fight this guy. Like, you really just don't. Like, he can't man up on you, whether you have eat or not. I mean, you have your self shield and stuff, so he's always going to run away from you, whether you have that skill or not. So the time to pop it is that super early team takes a bunch of poke, protect your shield resource, protect your Orisa's, like everybody's resources, protect them by using the E early and get, who knows, you probably get a couple hundred HP on it as well. And then the push is still good, but then you would just have used your CDs more efficiently here. Because the eat is now bad. Like, you know, this guy, you know, and now we're at this point where you would have had the eat again if that, like if you had used it right at the start, like once again. Like, I feel like you're kind of only using it in this, like, make sure I don't die sort of game plan, which I don't think, that's one good way to use it, but it's not the only way. Pretty sure they don't touch here. I think you're doing the right thing getting this high ground. I think there's a jump. I don't know if you know this jump, but I think there is a jump that, like, if you bounce, you can, like, get to this one. I think that would be good if you know that jump. And in general, I would say, like, learning those jumps. There's maps like Hanamura where it's, like almost like a core of playing Sigma is that jump on Hanamura to the window with your left click. So if you're not comfortable in Sigma, you're probably not comfortable with that, but I would say that those are, like, another great thing to learn.
Yeah, I know the Hanamura one. I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, this one's like harder, I think, but I'm just pretty sure you can. Like, if you shoot this corner or something, they like bounce back to your feet. You really don't need much help to cross this is the thing. You only need like a tiny boost. Even if it's not that good, it's fine. Another thing I would say also is like, this shield is good, right? When you don't know, or it's like before this Hanzo shows up. Like, I don't mind, you know, you poking this door. I think that's generally correct. But as soon as this guy shows up, I would immediately put the shield away and try and put it on him. Or I would have just don't place. You don't need a preemptive shield. You know, it doesn't need to be there before they push. You know, you could just still hold onto the cooldown and just wait. Like, if they push this top, then sure, you drop the shield. Sure, like, that's good. But if you just don't use it and you hold on to it, then you could just put a shield, like, right in this guy's face in the doorway, and he just has no impact on the game, you know? Where if you put the shield preemptively, there's always the chance that you get peeked from another angle that you weren't ready for. And the only reason to be preemptive with the peek or with the shield is like a Widow, basically. If you're setting up for a Widow or a boosted Ashe or something like that. But they just don't have that. The only thing they have is a Hanzo. Even against those heroes, I still would, like, if you don't know for sure which door they're coming from, you still just have to hold the shield and, like, just respond to their push by shielding in their face. This is all good. You can chase that guy. So, like, this is a great eat, right? It, like, makes so much space for the team to go forward. And I feel like you did that because you didn't have any shield left because it broke. But, like, you could do that whether you had shield or not. It would still be a really high value place to use your eat. Because, you know, like, you're like, either whether it's you have no shield and you need that, or you just want to protect your shield HP. Both of those are really good reasons to eat. So that's a fine shield because you're trying to keep yourself above the threshold. So I don't hate that one. I'm gonna start with the rock, but yeah, that's a losing fight once that dragon goes in. Hanzo just flanks and kills everyone from behind. We'll go back a little, see this fight start. This is good. You're clearing this flank. One little helpful tip I have for in general for projectile heroes, like, I don't know what other heroes like what are your normal best heroes on tank, like your comfort heroes?
Like Wrecking Ball and Rhine.
Sure. Okay, so you probably don't. This advice probably will help you, which is because you don't play like these like core projectile heroes that much. And what I always think about when I'm playing a projectile hero, which is like the main thing I do, is play projectile heroes mostly. But now I've like learned hit scan, I learned all the heroes pretty much except Widow on DPS. But the key, like, learning that I've done on projectile is just figuring out when you're at a range to just like turn your brain into hit scan mode. Like, don't stop thinking of yourself as having a projectile weapon because you're just so close that there's no travel time or whatever. And I always feel like that makes me way better at projectiles at close range when I'm just like, okay, I have a hit scan weapon now. At like the super close range, just like tracking them, like as if you're wrecking ball trying to track them, like that you're aiming that exact same way with Sigma. At those super close range fights, that it's because it's true, right? If the travel time is sufficiently low, then the projectile might as well be hit scan. This is good. We just C9 there epically, actually. I don't think that's your fault. I think that's the Orisa's fault. But whatever. I think that's still right, though, from you. Like, you definitely want to be contesting that high ground. You and Greedier are both there because whichever Sigma dominates the high ground with the DPS is going to have a huge advantage. So, actually, I don't care if the C9 happened. That's not your fault. It's still the right play. To get that high ground control. That's like kind of a, I mean, that's something I've seen you do a lot on Sigma, so that's like absolutely correct, is that you're always trying to like push the high ground and take control of it in the mid fight before things break down too much. Nice, all good here. Another thing here, yeah, like this is a mistake actually. You never want to let your shield smash. Like when it smashes, you get like the penalty where it doesn't regen. Right, like, oh fuck, I clicked off you. But like the shield regens like slower. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure when Sigma came out, or the shield regens slower if you let it smash. I know that's how it works on Brig, where it doesn't start regenning for like a longer delay. Is it? I think that's the same way on Sigma. I'm not like 100%. But regardless, even if the delay is the same, it's still like the principle of the enemy knowing your shield is full smashed versus low means you won't have an answer to something like a halt rock, where even if you have like a 5 HP on your shield, you can block the rock and avoid getting stunned and like protect yourself. So you never ever want to let it go to 0. You always want to be putting it down when it's at that. Like you want to be watching that HP and even dropping it a little earlier at like 100 HP or something like that. Okay, this is an epic int by me. Really cool. Actually trolling the game. It's kind of lucky that the Brig boosts you though, because you actually don't want to be too far forward here. Like this is fine, but they're really strong here, so. Like this shield here, you don't need this shield. You know, I think that's something like, I think your shield management is probably like the #1 thing you could do better on, because like this shield, you just don't need this. You know, not only can you put it away right now because you just backed off, so like you really don't need it. There's 2 shields, so you really don't need your shield, and you could let it regen here. But even now, like nobody's looking at you, and you're 500 HP. You have shields on, you know, so just being confident. Like when you have this big HP stack and you're close to your teammates, there's like there's a lot of different. I mean, you could even have just any one of these reasons. Like there's an Orisa shield you can work with. You have a high HP stack. You're next to your teammates. One of those 3 reasons is enough to put your shield down and try to get greedy and get the resources back by letting it regen. You know, like you see McGravy, like he doesn't care that you poke him here. He like won't put his shield up. He'll just trade until his shield is like high HP. And when he does put it out, he puts it out for 1 second, and like as soon as he's off, he instantly drops it. Like he never lets it stay up when he doesn't like really need it. You know, if he's just like okay, or he's like even willing to take some risks just to like be greedy and try to get the shield back faster. And I think that's like something to learn from for sure, as far as the shield management on Sigma goes. Like, you know, can you get away with not having the shield out right now? Do you have another way to survive? Because you always want to like get that shield charging as much as possible. It's like the same principle on Ashe of like reloading. As soon as you're not fighting anybody, you instantly reload on Ashe so that you can start having your clip be more full than it was before. Like just beginning that resource regeneration is so valuable. Like even here, like, you know, when there's an Orisa shield out, I'd rather you let the Orisa shield get poked before you deploy your shield. Unless your shield is completely full, then it'd be good to deploy it earlier. But if you have like 300 HP on your shield, let the Orisa shield fully break and then instantly use your shield when it gets as healthy as it possibly can be before you need a shield. Tried to block the pull. It's all fine. Hiding from this. That's a bit unlucky. He like headshot you over the top. But yeah, I think that's fine. The only thing is, well, let's see. Maybe you could have played it better while you're in the flux. That's gonna happen a lot on Sigma when you get flux because it's really easy to flux the other Sigma. Typically, it's like a very common target to catch. But Gravy plays this like intelligently by hiding on his shield. You don't have Rock, I think, but like you couldn't have gotten him because of the way he was playing. I think you didn't identify the threats well enough, though. Like, I'm guessing you're turning your back here, right? Because you know the Ashe is there? Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Or are you just kind of just looking around? Like,
yeah, I think I was just kind of panicked.
I would say the biggest thing, A, is never panic, and B, like, when you're fluxed in particular, if you're low HP, it's kind of different where you're like, fuck, I'm just dead. I need to, like, shoot people because I'm just dead. You know, if you can't get saved. But you have enough HP here where you're not super scared of this. Like, it's not great that you're fluxed, but you're fine. I think if you just identified more quickly that the Ashe was the threat here and just shielded for her, you like wouldn't have taken this poke, and you wouldn't have, like, he shoots you 2 times and then you get whip shot right before the slam. But if you block those shots from Ashe, I think you live here. And also you would have known. You know what I mean? Like, you turn and you eat now at the Brig, who's, like, not the target who's going to damage you like that, right? She doesn't give a shit about you. You, like, cannot deal damage to your eat thing, you know? So, just keeping, when you are sig ulted, figure out who the real second threat is. Sometimes it's the Sigma trying to left-click you. Sometimes, usually it's the DPS trying to poke you. But that's what you need to be identifying when you're in the flux. Like, and so that you can react accordingly, keep your HP really high. Luckily, rally is broken, and we can clutch.
It's playing again.
Let's see, you're coming back to the fight. You have flux. It's looking good, so maybe you don't need to flux. Sure, that's a fine attempt on the Rock. Let me see how you did that Rock again. I just want to go over that a little tiny bit. Because this is like playing against Wrecking Balls. You did the right thing. You're like looking at the floor where he's going to be. So, yeah, I think that's good. He kind of slammed at an angle where you can't see him. But I think that was the right idea. And now this flux is like a game-winning flux if it's perfect. This guy tilt swaps to Genji, which is a really absolutely terrible pick. But that's good for you. You'll take those. Absolutely terrible picks are welcome. Get the flux out. I like it. It puts so much pressure on them that they lose other players elsewhere. Like, this is a great place where, like, that shield placement, you know, like when your shield is 25 HP, like you shouldn't put it up, you know. Like, you know, you should know that your shield is this low. It's like literally just a waste of time to put it up here, you know. Like, it's literally gonna, I mean, it blocks one shot from like anything in the game. So you might as well make this exact same play and like just not put these shields up. And then like you know what I mean? Like, the shield did not help you at all through this position. And if you had never put it up in the first place, you would be at like 400 or 500 shield rather than 100 right now. It's good. Rotate to high ground. There's another, I believe there is a jump on this map to this thing. I think you can actually do this jump with like Roadhog. I'm not sure actually where the card is, but I know for sure. I feel like I've seen people do this. That there's a jump to like get on top of this thing, like climbing up this way. I'm not sure about that one though. I feel like I've seen Sigmas do that. But it's another thing where, I don't know, watching like a lot of like owl demos and stuff, you'll find these like crazy shit, weird text people know. So I'd recommend that as far as just those little bits of efficiency. It makes some minor difference in your gameplay, but then if you do it literally every time, then it adds up. This is all good. Now the shield is good because you might not need it, but your team is using it, so it's actually fine. Great aggression on this guy. You can run him over. Yeah, this is good for you. Just confident, just rushing them because you're up so much. Just eating his face. Sure. Nice. Very nice. Style points. All right, nice. I mean, I feel like everything, like almost all my feedback here is about the shield management, honestly, for you. I feel like that's like I think the rest of your gameplay seems really solid to me, like as far as the way you're fluxing and the way you're like putting out damage over the top of the shields with the splash and like banking it and stuff. Like you seem actually a lot more comfortable on like just like the raw DMing aspects of Sigma. I feel like the biggest thing for you is sort of identifying when you actually need the shield and trying to like get in this efficiency mindset with Sigma, which is all about how can I get the most shield per, like in a 10-minute game, how can I block the most damage possible with my shield? And mathematically, the answer to that is put your shield out. It takes 699 damage. You put it down. You regen it exactly to 700, and you put it out again, and then you go 699 damage, right? Like mathematically, that's the way you block the most damage, right? And obviously, you're not achieving that like perfection, but aspiring to that, like trying to do that, unless you're forced for some important reason, like you're using a BAP wall or something, you need a shield, or your sniper takes a peek fight, you need the shield. You need to block a rock, you need the shield. Don't be too crazy about the efficiency, but do try to, because I think that's the number one thing for you, is just like being more efficient with when you put the shield out, trying to get it to the full stack of getting the 700 back before you use it again, and only deploying it before that when you need it or your teammate needs it and you're supporting them. Because I see like the number one mistake you're making is just putting the shield up for no reason. Or even like you put it up preemptively, putting it up when it's super low, putting it up when there's teammates around, when you have a high HP stack and you're the only one peeking that angle. So just be a little bit more conservative placing the shield, and find that balance that works for you, I guess. But that's definitely like the biggest thing I've seen in this demo is just you could be greedy, or you could be trying to charge it up more before you deploy it, or trying to just not use it at all and keep it at 700 if you're not under threat, if there's no sniper or something looking at you.